So I said that this is about Papagayo. It will be about Papagayo, but I'll also mention Gladiator. How many of you use Gladiator?
I've used it. I didn't go to a show with it, but I tried it.
Okay, so this probably would be an extension from the previous talk, which is Gladiator, which is G-L-E-D, Gladiator, I-A-T-O-R, is a program written by a programmer in Germany, and he sells panels like this. That's his business. And he wrote the Gladiator software so that he could sell the panels. And the software is free, and it's like Madrix, very much like Madrix. In fact, Madrix is a German company, and so he happened to make the user interface look like Madrix. It does effects like Madrix, and he has some effects that I don't have in X-Lights, like have multiple fluids mixed together. He has that effect. He has a bunch of others. So if you go to download Gladiator, it'll come up with two windows. You put an effect on the left side, an effect on the right side. You merge it together. It's like Madrix. It's only a matrix of data. But in X-Lights, you can open up the Gladiator file that is produced. And if you want to know about Gladiator, why would you use it if you want extra effects that we don't really have? That's his point. Now we're going to go to Papagayo. How many of you use Papagayo now? I mean, want to use Papagayo? You better be everybody else, or you're in the wrong place. I'm going to take a chair that's added since I'm old. On my website, right here, is the Papagayo information that you want. Papagayo was written 6 years ago by a cartoonist who knows Python, a programming language. The guy actually has cartoon strips, and he wanted to make singing faces for his cartoon strip. He has nothing. He doesn't even know that people on the Christmas lights are using his software. The program that he wrote, Papagayo, and you may know Papagayo is the Spanish word for parrot. So probably means something to him as a cartoonist. Anyway, parrot's the software. It's 5-year-old software. It has been used by lore people, and it's kind of a cool interface. There's some problems in it that are related to it being 5 years old, written in Python, and here's the biggest problem. It can't sequence a whole 3-minute song. So I'm going to do This Is Halloween, This Is Halloween. I'm going to take you through the process of how to actually sequence it. And part of this is going to be Papagayo, and part of it will be X-Lights using the Papagayo output. So I'm assuming some of you never used this at all. I'm going to take you through, we're going to actually get a This Is Halloween sing in a face over there, successful. So the not able to do more than 3 minutes is a pain in the ass. So it's been on somebody's list someday, will we ever fix this? And the way we should fix it is we should just rewrite his code and make a real program out of it. Because it can only do about 1 minute. Huh?
I think I saw a new version of this out.
It doesn't work.
That could be an issue.
So the same guy 5 years later rewrote it into C++, but it doesn't handle multiple voices. And I contacted him 9 months ago about this. He put a bunch of posts out, actually a year ago, July of last year, for about 2 weeks. He was active, I'm working on this, and then he never responded, and there hasn't been another version for a year. I wish he would finish, but I've been waiting 1 year, so it's like I don't want to go and fix something that he's going to fix anyway. I hope it gets fixed. In the meantime, everyone is using the older 5-year-old Python version. And that 5-year Python version, I bundled up and made it into a self-install. Here, download it, install it. It'll install on Windows. And when you launch it, this is what it looks like when it comes up. The basis of this software is very simple. a simple concept. Carnegie Mellon provides a free dictionary. You go to their website and you download it, and their current file has 135,000 words in the dictionary, and for each word, they'll say like airline pilot. Oh no, I won't do that. It's a joke. Never mind. I got a couple of airline pilots. I gotta make jokes about them. Now, for any word that you have, say the longest word in English you may know is pneumono ultramicroscopic silical volcanokiniosis. This, which is black lung disease of miners. It's like 46 letters long. So you find that word, and they will go and put how to pronounce that word with different syllables. And in the Carnegie Mellon dictionary, there's 46 syllables. Every shape of your mouth, 46 different things. And what this author did is he took those 46 and he reduced them down to 10. And those syllable shapes he calls phonemes, and so do they. P-H-O-N-E-M-E. And you will see those shown here. A-I-E-F-V, you know, when you go, your F's start by your teeth on your lip, that's what the shape is supposed to be here. So what you want to do when you're doing singing face is get the lyrics for a song, and then have the lyrics changed into words, and the words changed into syllables, and then the syllable has to be matched to what you want to turn on your choral face. So if you were doing AI, you would have an open mouth, and if we had a really good mouth, the teeth are showing. Now nobody does that in our singing faces. This is that reduction of the 40 things down. But you want an AI, this, is with the teeth going the way, is Halloween. Each one of those shapes is going to be mapped. More than that, Halloween has 4 or 5 phenoms. And what his program's going to do is take the word and break it into all the phenoms using the Carnegie Mellon data, and it'll then make the syllables Halloween. But how will he break where the syllables for Halloween are? He doesn't know that it's Halloween. He'll break them so they're all even, which is not the way we say it. So what you'll have to do is come and move the phenoms around so they match actually where Halloween, you'll have to move the syllables if you want to get lip sync. Phrases to words to phenoms. When we're done with this and save it, it'll save what it just did as a Papagayo file, which has an extension of PGO. There is a guy who offers to do Papagayo files for free over on Lore, and what he does is he takes a song, you give him a song, and he'll sequence it, he'll go through Papagayo, and then he'll make an LMS file, and the only file he gives you is LMS. So I've asked him, can you give the PGO file, because then you can actually edit it here, and we can use the PGO file. He does, I don't know why, he doesn't save the PGO, he only makes the LMS. So I'm going to take you through now, we're going to do This Is Halloween, the first phrase. I'll show you how to do that one phrase into phenoms, and then I'll show you the PGO file, and then we'll come and go into X slides, and let's see, I'm 11 minutes into it. Okay. All right, I would normally go now to the web, but I'm not on the web, so I can't do this, and look up lyrics for This Is Halloween. Whatever song you are, you're going to find the lyrics for it on thousands of websites. And what you want to do is paste the lyrics down in this box. So I'm going to put the beginning since I couldn't find it. If I remember what it was. Now, up here, notice that it says voice 1. When you are singing in the song, if you remember This Is Halloween, first these guys are singing, then the mayor is singing, and then these people are singing. In the lyrics, that you can find on the webpage, they'll tell you who is singing. The girl's singing, the boy's singing, the ghost is singing. If you have multiple faces, which face do you want to be singing which part? If you only have one face, then you're going to take all the words and put it on only one. On This Is Halloween, they have 12 voices, but you only bought 4. So you're going to have to decide when you look at the lyrics, which words do you put in for 4 or 8 or 10 or 12, however many voices you have. So if I want to make another voice, I would come over here and say no, new, and in voice 2, I'll make something up. And I can click back to voice 1, and I go back to voice 1. Double click. Now I'm back on the first voice. Each voice, you're going to have to now go and do the breakdown. And when you click breakdown, it's going to go from the words into the syllables. Now, here's the problem. What if the lyrics say, this is how, and the words in the lyrics are not part of the 132,000 words that Carnegie Mellon knows because they wrote it in slang. They put an apostrophe and they do stuff. It's not going to find a match. So you actually have to go and maybe you listen to it and you make it be the real word, because it could be talked with accents, regional accents, and they try to put the extra letters to make it sound like you're doing that. It'll never find a match in the dictionary. So all we care about is if we get the symbols right. So change the words to be as close. It'd have to be an English word. Also down here, I think Papagayo came with a Spanish dictionary. As an English dictionary, so if you want to do Besame Mucho and Julio and Julio, you can, yeah, that guy. You can take the song written in Spanish, and it'll correctly break down all the Spanish words to their phonetic sources. I don't know where he got the Spanish dictionary. I know where he got the English one from. All right, so next step is to click breakdown. And now, why don't you see this?
It's spread it out through the whole song.
No, it's why isn't it? Why don't you see the solid paint? I'm not sure why we're missing the color. All right, well, the green is music phrase, is the phrase. This is Halloween, and then underneath it is going to be the words. And here's the first pain in the ass of using this program. This is a 5-minute song, and I put in 6 words. Where will it put the words in the music file? It's going to take 6 minutes and make each word be 1 minute apart.
Oh, wow. That's fun.
So one of the changes that we were talking about making to enhance this was that when you put in the phrase, we could come up to the waveform and say, this phrase goes from here to here, spread the words only in the first 10 seconds. Instead, it's going to spread the words out across the whole freaking song. And you're going to find it's a pain because you're going to have to go grab the last word and move it over, and then grab the next one and move it over. So I should have made a small song. So this is, look, we're all the way out to 5:10 or 5:20. And what is the 5:10 and 5:20? Frames. So how many frames per second does Papagayo do? By default, it would do only 25. But I modified, you don't need to do this. I modified the file, and when you download the one I have, I've put in 20 as a choice. And what do we do our songs at in X-Lights? 20 frames per second, this matches. If it were 25 frames that it's expecting, you're gonna play it back at 20. If you have 25 things, but you play it back at 20, it's gonna be too slow. You got this much, but you're playing it back at a slower rate, and then it's not going to match the music. So I already made it so that it'll come out to 20. Make sure the FPS is 20. That is its default. Green is the phrase, the word phrase. The orange is the words, and then the purple is the actual syllables. Let's find Halloween. What you can do is grab a word. There is one thing that he did in this file that is hard to do. We don't have it in X-Lights, which is there is an audio scrubber that while you move the pointer, it actually plays the song as you, even if you slide it slow, and it plays it both forward and backwards. So if you move it, if you press play, I did Thriller. Okay, well, I put This Is Halloween on Thriller, so. Alright, so here's the second pain in the butt about this program, 5 years old. You cannot click in it and start from that location. You press play again, it always starts at the beginning. You've got a 5-minute song and you're editing the last 10 seconds. You get to wait for it to play through the whole thing. And it's a pain in the butt. Except, if you're not playing it, you can come and use the scrubber and move it at the end. And if you listen, if you move the scrubber, you can hear, this is hello, how, and what you're trying to find is right where the Halloween occurs. And then you're going to drag the phenoms in the right location. First you want to get the words in the right location. Well, first you want to get the phrase in the right place. Then you, inside the phrase, they evenly space the words. You move the word underneath where you really want it to be. And then under the word, if it's like Halloween or Halloween, even though they have the syllables the same, they are not in the same location. You move the syllables and line them up. You have 20 frames per second or 50 millisecond tick marks, and you can make the PGO be dead on. And that file, the guy at Lore throws away. So it's like you did all that work. He's done like 40 or 50 songs, because he then takes them and goes through It's Me Bob. You guys know this website? So It's Me Bob is a Lore person, and he made a tool that will take the Papagayo file and create it into an LMS file. And this guy uses that tool. He goes through and makes the Papagayo file, then he makes an LMS file, and then he posts those LMS files for Lore users. They go, thanks. And someone says, I have this song, will you do it? And the guy goes to Papagayo, he's gotten good at doing this stuff, and then he makes the PGO. So since I'm not going to go through, I would suggest take an easy song. This Is Halloween is actually a pretty easy song to do. Oh, there's one other caveat, which is this program will not recognize MP3 files. You can only have WAV, no other kind. So every song you get from Amazon is an MP3 file, and you need to convert them into a WAV. And so Audacity is your friend again. Open it up, and then come and say File, Export Audio, and then come down here and pick that you want a WAV file. So you may know this, MP3 files are actually compressed. They're smaller. WAV files are just sampled at a constant rate, and they're about 10 times larger. So the 3 megabyte MP3 is going to be 30 megabytes wave. Software-wise, it's a lot easier to deal with the WAV file than try to uncompress on the fly and do all that stuff. Our routines handle the MP3, so does Lower. Everyone handles MP3, but the Python code could not, and whatever code he wrote in Java, didn't handle anything except WAV. So back to the beginning, if I didn't make the note, start with the WAV file. It won't work without a WAV file. WAV file, then you put it, use Audacity to convert, you file open the WAV file, and the entire song comes in. Audacity is your friend again because you cannot sequence anything larger than 1 minute. So open up your This Is Halloween and break it into 1 minute chunks. You just go to the end, go to 1 minute, truncate the rest of that so it's gone, and make it a wave. Halloween Part 1. Take the remainder, pick a next minute, delete the rest of it. Halloween Part 2. Do it until you're finished and you have 1 minute chunks. If we rewrite this program, this would go away. When you're all done and you have moved the phenoms and moved the words, you keep playing the song until the phenoms are exactly matching it. Now when you play it, that mouth is going to change and exactly match the phenoms that you have here. So that when you come and say that you have any of these other shapes of the mouth, they will go and change as you play it, and this will change while playing. When you're finally done and you finished voice 1, voice 2, voice 3, voice 4 for the first minute, voice 1, voice 2, voice 3, voice 4 for the second minute, and the last minute, and you're finished, please share the PGO because that's a pain in the ass. And if you all go do This Is Halloween, we're not a community. So, you know, divide up and conquer and do these things because the PGOs are gold to me. If you do a good job and I open it up and I see that you got one off, this is 1 frame off, I can just come into here and move it over and I fixed it, right? If you don't give a PGO, we can't edit it. So I hope that there starts to be file sharing the PGO files. It's the gold. Now, wish this guy.
Is there a repository?
Yeah, where's the best place to put those?
That's a good question.
Maybe create maybe a separate.
On the forums, there's the share your sequence or share your
Yeah,
show.
just
Well,
maybe just something.
we've been talking about where should we share sequences. If someone does a really good Wizard's a winner. When you do X-Lite sequences, remember our sequences are almost universal because we don't know what kind of hardware, we don't know how big your models were, but the sequences could be shared, and we've been talking about how should we share sequences, and we haven't decided how to do that. The way to probably do it is make a button that will upload them to an FTP site that we maintain, and you go to a web page and you see all the files, and then you can download them, and you'd upload also the PGO files. I already made a directory with animated GIFs that I found, and you could just go and download them. But what we need to do is if you really like, and here's another one, you made a really cool effect. You do that 200 layer effect and it's like amazing. You ought to be able to press a button and that gets uploaded to a common shared directory. Everyone can go look at them and peruse them and go, wow, I don't know how he did it. I'll just copy that down and use it. We used to have that in Nutcracker 2.
Yeah.
We haven't had it in either 3 or 4. It's another thing on our list of to-dos that we'd like to do. When we do that, then you as a community can share sequences, and the sequences that you share are really easy to bring across and use because of the way X-Lite is designed. What you can do now is send me the PGO, and I'll upload them to a directory, and I'll just give the web link and say, here's all the PGOs that have been submitted, until we make an automated way to do it. All right, we finally get a PGO created. Yay. Now what do you do? Down here, this is 4,000 frames, 20 frames per second, so that's 200 seconds, so it's 3.5 minutes approximately. There's a button here to export someplace, I don't know where it is, and what it does, it takes the PGO data and brings it out for the cartoon animation program called, Alzheimer's will hit and I won't remember what it's called. It's whatever cartoonists use to create animation, animated cartoon strips on the web. And it can accept an input about here's the mouth movements. It does us no good, but that was what this cartoonist did when he made it. The PGO file is what we want. So let's go look at the PGO file. Let's see if I have it here. No, so let me see if I have it here. All right, so let me show you what it looks like. And you actually could create these files without that Papagayo program. You can do it yourself, going from Audacity directly to an editor. You probably don't want to do that, but if you wanted to, the file is produced. The first thing will just say the version of a software. The second line will tell you the name of the WAV file that was used to generate this. The third line tells you what's the frames per second. I'm just going to go through it once. You don't need to take a note about this unless you're going to make your own. The fourth line tells you the total number of frames. Next, with the 1, it's going to tell you how many total voices this song has. If there were 4 voices, that would be a 4. This particular one, there's 1 voice. Right after that, it's going to put that voice out. And the name of that voice, which could have been Skeleton, I took the default, the name of the voice was Voice 1. Then the very next thing is the music phrase, the phrase from the lyrics, the phrase. So the very first phrase was, boys and girls of every age, when you like to see something strange. Vertical bars are showing the pause between lines. So it was like having a poem. Extra vertical bars means that there was nothing in that phrase, that they will all fit on one line, and that phrase, boys and girls of every age, that phrase was broken, that lyric was broken into a phrase. And that lyric says the first phrase will now be shown. And what it's saying is, the 15 says, your lyric had 15 phrases in it. And for the very first phrase, boys and girls of every age, it then comes and says that particular one is starting from frame 291 to 333. Those numbers are timing marks. Then below that, it says there are 6 words in this phrase. And they are boys and girls. And after the word, it's going to go, the first one is going to give you the range of the time frames. And it's going to tell you that boys is made up of 3 syllables. And those 3 syllables are MBP, WQ, and Etsy. And those phrases are on Carnegie Mellon's website. You look and go, what the hell does MVP mean and stuff? We're just using what they called it. And they tell you where the phrase starts. So, boys and girls. And the reason I'm showing you is sometimes I don't want to go into the hell of Papagayo and move something around. I can just come here and edit that number and it's done. So knowing that you can edit it here sometimes, and here's another one. What if I go and see boys and girls, blah, 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 and I like it, I can copy and paste it here. Now I have to change the time to copy and paste, but if I know that I want it to start at, it's on 293, and I want to start it at 1293, then I would copy this and then add 1,000 to each of those numbers. And after you use Papagayo enough, you may say, in this case, I'll do the copy and paste, because the other one doesn't copy and paste. All right, you go through this entire song, and when you're done, it is not XML, it is just indented, and there is the whole song. This is the gold. This is what we hope you guys will share. One of the reasons I'm giving this class is so you guys write the PGOs and I can use them.
Good idea.
Again, 1 minute. That's a limit in the program. It would be nice to go and do the whole friggin' thing, but it doesn't work that way. Now, here's the problem with the second minute. When you put the second minute in and you paste in the lyrics for the second minute, and then you say breakdown, and it breaks down, and it creates one of these files, what frame number do you think? At 1,000, 1 minute is how many frames? Who can do the math?
1,200?
1,200. So the second one would start at 12:01. If it's exactly 60 seconds, 20 frames per second, these counters are going to go from 1 to 1,200. And on 12:01, I don't know what you're doing, Chris, but that's like catatonic stuff there. I don't know if you're saying, I'm the master, Sean, please be quiet. I got it.
You only need 131.
Okay, 12:01 should be the next frame. So you'll appreciate the guys have done this by what they have to go through. And It's Me, Bob, wrote code to do this. And the Papagayo tab that we have in X-Lights is also going to do this. You have to stitch these two files together. So you have, say we have only one voice and you have three minutes. The second one needs to start at frame 12:01. But what Papagayo's going to create, the second one, is starting at number 1. It doesn't know that there's any others. So you need to know what the last one is of the previous one. You go down to the bottom and you can go right up here. This will tell you the total number. So, but this was a 1 minute song, this would have said there's 1,200 frames. Then I know that the next one would start at 12:01. The reason you need to know that is in the Papagayo tab, when you put a file in, we ask you, where should we start it at? We'll do the stitching for you. So you make them, but you gotta be able to tell us where the next one comes. And by the way, this is like crap. Why do you have to do this? Because it's a limitation in the program, and if we ever rewrite the program, we'd make all this go away, but we never got around to rewriting it. All right, so now you understand the file, the PGO file. Now let's go into X-Lights. So there's the Papagayo tab we've been talking about. I've changed my show directory. When you click on that you want to open a Papagayo file, you now know what that means. That magic, pay $5,000 for that sucker, PGO file, and you guys are going to create them for me. So
You have a list? Song?
I'll take anything for Halloween. This is Halloween, Ghostbusters. You make them because you're going to put it in your show and you have a singing face. Just be really cool and say, I have the PGO file. That would be nice. But notice if you were going to give me the PGO file, you actually have to give me 3 files. And by the way, it's file, the file has multiple voices in it. So if you have 4 voices, the first minute has 4 voices in it. Second file has 4. So you do them in 3, but you don't have to do 12. You do 1 minute slices if that's what you're doing. Okay, so I'm going to give the file select the Papagayo input file, select the sequencer output file. So what do you think that we're gonna do? We're gonna take the PGO and make an X-Lite sequence out of it. So I would normally, I called it this too. I think you have to get the extension. By the way, all of this code was written by Don Julian, not me. But I gave him the spec. Don Julian was one of the developers we had. Last year there was a time that there was only Don and me for nearly a year developing X-Lites. So it's like during the dry time, be out in the desert. So if anyone ever sees Don, he did all the heavy lifting here. I told him what I wanted, and he goes, I don't even know how to spell Papagayo, just tell me what you want. So it has not been touched for nearly 2 years. So it is not going to produce an X-Lites 4 output file. It's going to produce an X-Lites 3 sequence file. And do you really care? You shouldn't, because as soon as you open 3, we auto-convert within 1 second, and it's a 4. So we never got around to touching this tab and making it be 4 aware and change it and all that stuff. It's going to make a X-Lites 3.0. Just so you're aware that when you open it, the first time there'll be a little thing that says it's been converted. Now you know why. All right, choose output type. So we're taking the Papagayo file. You're going to make a singing face. What is the difference between an auto face, a choral face, an image face, and a movie face? Okay, the auto face is if that image was an open mouth, the auto face is going to draw a frame of a face, and it will draw an open mouth, and it will put eyes. There is no choral face. It is making a face to come on a matrix or a megatree. The advantage of number 1, as soon as you do this, you're done, and you press play, and your This Is Halloween will play on the matrix. What's the disadvantage? It's definitely a cartoonish, sticky face thing. It's just a round, oval shape with eyes and a mouth. So if you want to get something that is singing, this is the fastest way to get it. It has to be coming out on a matrix or a megatree to see it. But you're not doing any other setup. You just say, that's what I want, and you're done. That's, I don't know of a better name for it, but it automatically creates a face. There is no choral involved in this. It's matrix or megatree. The second choice is what you buy from Holiday Choral. It's a single channel face where you're going to go and say, I want you to go do the MVP phenom. And for that phenom, you have to decide which lights you're going to turn on. So most of your faces are like 8 channels, right? AC channels. You got 8 channels. Most that you buy, I think, are 8 channels.
Yes, they're all 8 channels.
Okay, if you were good, there'd be more like 16 or 20 channels to make the phenom be really real. Like, is there a difference between an open O or this where your teeth show? So you'd have to have a light to be teeth versus not a light. So it was decided when we're doing these simple faces, we're going to go, we had 10 phenoms by Papagayo, but what you're going to find is we convert the 10 down to 4 with these 8 channels. So it went from 46 down to 10, and then when we use it, we make it even simpler. You got a straight line, open files, and it's like, that's it. Some people, if you want to make a fancy face and make your own face, you're going to have the ability to make these as fancy as you want. But if you just have one from Holiday Choral or one that's already made, you have to identify which channels get turned on to make that mouth shape for all 10 of them. Okay, so if I look at a holiday face and I go, do the O, and you go, it's channel 1, but I also want the frame to be turned on, right? And then there's the eyes. And then do you want the eyes to blink? You know, and then there's some of them with the eyebrows. Do you want the eyebrows to come up? So we went through this, it kept getting more and more complicated. I think that's why Don left me. Choral faces is probably 80 or 90% of what you guys would use. The third one, image faces. You go into Paint and take a picture of Olaf the snowman. Pretty nice resolution. You're going to project it on your screen. And you overlay a mouth that is, this, and you make 10 images. So start with the background and you can take the mouse shapes that are already in Papagayo because they're in the image directory. And you can go and paste the mouse on top of that background image. You make 10. What can you do? Anything you can draw. You want to make a tree, you want to take a picture of my face and then put a different mouth, then I'm singing This Is Halloween by whatever you did. So this is not mapping to a holiday coral face. This is expected that you're projecting it, you're running it on a matrix because you're going to show a picture. This also would work if instead of taking the 10 faces and using the pictures effect, how about if I take the 10 faces and put them together into a movie? So the fourth choice is to make a movie out of them. So you have to have the 10 faces, and if you make a movie, it'll put them all together and it builds frames. It's like the inverse of FFmpeg that we did for making a movie to display, which is take a movie and build it into frames. FFmpeg can give you a directory of frames and make it back into a movie. And that's in fact how I implemented this one. 4 different ways of taking the PGO file and displaying it onto your data.
For clarification on the image faces, are you saying that we're going to create 10 of them, but are you going to take the mouth, you're going to take the face part and then do the 9 different then mouth, you're adding the mouth to the face, or you keep the face is the one that's used all the time and then you're overlaying the different mouth things?
Neither one of those.
Okay.
Okay, so now let's try the third one. Third one is you make 10 separate image files and you do all the work.
Right.
Okay, and it could have been 20 image files because I'm going to make an MPB with my Olaf with his mouth open, and then I'm going to make another MPB Olaf with his eyes closed. So that I sometimes am putting out MPB and his eyes are open, and sometimes I put out MPB and his eyes are closed. One of the things we were talking about is should we allow you to give the background image and give me a library of 10 mouse shapes and then give me the eyes that you want and then I put them all together randomly. We talked about it. Don Julian's gone, so I don't know if that was the one that caused him to go. This was used, by the way, in 2013. Okay, so this has been around for 2 years, this tab. So it was used and people did singing faces back in 2013 and 2014. And we haven't touched it since 2013. Somebody came here and said they had used it and it's working, so we haven't touched it, but apparently we didn't break it. I hope. All right, so let's pick one of these. After you do all this work, the work is going to come down here. You have to pick what are you going to output on. See, this list is not an alphabetized list. All right, well, I'm going to pick one just so that I can show you that you need to go and pick the model. If you have 4 faces in X-Lights, you have to build a model for them. Okay, you're going to go into Custom Panel. I remember how to do Custom Panel, Custom Models. You go and you build a 20 by 20 and you go and say, the outline is, I'll start, this is the first channel, I go 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, all the way on the outside. And maybe when I turn on channel 1, I also want the eyes to turn on, I go 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1. If I don't want the eyes to turn on, I would do 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, and then I'd go channel 2 is the eyes, 2, 2, 2, 2, 2, 2, 2, and then the top lip is 3, and the bottom lip is 4, and you go, you type it more than once. You outline the actual shape. So if his outline of the singing Halloween face is a horn, you draw 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1. And when you're finished with this, and it's only using 89 channels, when you run your show, that model will be exactly like what your core face is, and it will sing. And you can make a little tiny one or a big one, you can put it on your roof, you got 4 different faces and they all look different. Because when it says turn on channels 1 and 5, those lights will light up on wherever you did it. So you need to make a custom model for every singing face. For the holiday choral face. For the auto faces, no model. I just take PGO and put it on the screen. You don't have to do any model for that. For the image face, no model. I go and take 10 images, and I just tell it that it's going to go. So let me be clear. You have to specify what matrix you're going to output on for the image face. But you're not going to activate any channels. We just convert it to the matrix and then put it out. The movie file, no model, because it will produce a movie file. It makes an MP4. Then you're going to, now that you have a movie, you go do something with it. By the way, now I have a movie of Olaf and nothing else. You probably would want to merge it with a background or something. I think only one guy used the movies, so if you're interested in doing that, you can contact me. Choral Faces is going to be the bread and butter for most of you. When you finally make this layout, I have Halloween Face 1, 2, and 3, and 4, and you type in all the channel numbers that go to each of those models, because you have to tell me, when I'm doing an AI phenom, what channels should turn on. Turn on channels 1 and 3 and 5, turn on 2 and 4. When you finish filling in this matrix, telling me all the channels to turn on, now you go do another song. Am I going to make you type all this stuff in again? Originally, yes. Currently, no. And then Don left because I made him do that. So we saved all of that information under the preset name. So the preset name means for these 4 Halloween faces, this table of all the channels that map to all the shapes have been saved. The next time I come in, I'll say use the preset called Halloween, and all of the models with all of their mapping gets loaded and undone. And then I go down after filling and look at all these things. Do you want to have channels for open and closed eyes? And do you want the channels for the eyes looking up or looking down, or left and right, so that you can change them? And by the way, when should they change? When someone's singing? I have no idea. Does it make, if it's something that is demure, should the person look down? You can't tell that by the syllables, so you'd have to come and tweak the show to say, what shape do you want for, what eye movement do you want? What I did in the beginning is, when you said "oh" in a song for a syllable, I had the eyes closed. So it goes through and sings and is open, and about every 10%, 20% of the time, an "oh" came by and he would blink. So it looked like it was like random, but it was the cheap way to make it not always be staring like he's on cocaine. It's like somebody is actually randomly blinking. Okay, let's see of what the others that we had. We have eyes random blink, making the eyes randomly look left and right. Auto fade after each face is, this is Halloween, and then he doesn't sing for another 1 minute, and he's sitting there staring at the audience. Well, it turns out that in most singing shows, if the person's not singing, you want it to go away. But you don't want to say, this is Halloween, and gone. So there is a fade out time. So as we're playing the song and we say, this is Halloween, and we look forward, and if you don't sing again for 2 seconds, 5 seconds, then that face will fade away.
Oh, I like that.
And then another face comes up and goes, and this is Halloween, and then he'll fade away. So that's what the fade away of the face area is. And I'm trying to remember what the insert rest was. Gosh, I don't remember.
So if you don't have eyes left or right, do you not just put it, do you not put anything in those cells?
Don't put anything in there. We were trying to get more and more realistic because we have PGOs, and what do they have? A syllable. This is Halloween. Eyes are wide open. Eyes are not moving. There's nothing in that song that says what facial thing. The eyebrows go up. The eyebrows go down. So we started to put more stuff that says move facial components to make it more realistic. It got pretty good. Not done. How do I make my thing disappear here? What's the thing that makes this go away?
Auto hide, good properties. And auto hide.
Where is it?
Towards the top.
From the top.
Right there,
Just past
down
the
one.
word.
Down, down,
Up.
The second checkbox from the top.
There you go.
All right. Thanks. Scaled pictures, when you're doing that image one and you made Olaf and you made them too big, we gave the option that we'll auto size it to fit whatever you're displaying. So yet another thing. I'm missing the line that says generate. So, no, okay. I don't know why. This button right here that I'm not seeing clearly is now go make the XML file. Now I didn't fill these in, so let me show you what that is. I'm trying to remember now. I think that they were channel numbers. I have to have a model that's valid because what it'll do is show you the channel numbers from that model that will be in the pull down list. So you got to build a model of your face if you're going to go pull it. But let me change it to not be auto face. Not curl face, let's use auto face. So auto face is going to use an effect in X-Lights that you guys may never paid attention to. And that effect is called Coral Faces and Faces. So the difference in this is that faces, oh, that's not good. I wanted to show you what this is. This is called a crash dump. So I was trying to see if I could demonstrate how that looks like.
Well done.
Faces, when you go to the effect, see the phenom here? When you select it, it'll draw a picture of O, E, I, and those shapes will come out on your matrix or your megatree auto-scaled. If you have a little one, it'll draw a face and put in eyes and do this. If you make a big one, it'll auto-scales the auto face. You can't go to the coral face unless you make models with channel numbers because we have to pull out of the available channels from the model. And you finish the mapping, and at the top you want to say new presets. And I had one for Halloween and one for Christmas. I had singing trees and singing faces. In the future, if I'm doing Christmas, I'll just say load in those faces. If I add another one, then I'd modify the set, and now I have 5 or 6 or 7 or 8. I think we support 12 singing faces in the code. This XML file that would be produced when, in fact, was produced when we clicked it, would say that in the PGO file, as it's going along, it's 4 models if you have 4 faces, so it's 4 models, and what you'll see is the effect is the shape of a face. It's up here. See these two right here? That one is a coral face, and that one is an auto face. You don't have to pick them because this will create them and say call faces or call coral faces. Coral faces is the 8-channel one, and faces is the auto face. What would it have if you're doing the hand me 10 pictures? It'll be 4 models across, and when you look across, it's going to be nothing but the picture effect. Picture effect, picture effect, and I will pick the name of the 10 file names you gave me and fill it in for you. And it's picked in with no scrolling. You know, when you put a picture, you pick none, so the picture stays static. That's all created when this creates it. So you're creating a sequence to call either faces, coral faces, or pictures. And what about the movie? It doesn't create an XML file, it creates an MP4 file. All right, I gotta go find out why that happened. So I think I probably run over time, right? That is what the Papagayo tab does. It changes a PGO file into, oh, I should tell you how to hook the, that was a demonstration of a crash.
I've experienced that.
We are beta software, which means you have an engine and a wheel, and you can go mostly to the target, but you sometimes do not reach the target as you're going. Oh, you need these display items?
He's not taking them. I'm just gonna take this one.
Oh, okay. Tomorrow we'll bring them all in there.
Yeah. I just figured it'd be easier to take one right here.
You're just going away, I'll keep talking. Where do we do the extension? When you give file, oh, it's here. You're going to give, this is stitching Papagayo files together. Remember, you could have 1, 2, and 3. You come here and say that you're going to add another file, and you give what's the starting frame number of the second file or the third file. Look at the, so if the first one's 1200, the starting one is 1201. If you looked in that and it was 1200, the third one will be 2401. They have to be continuous. If you looked at them, they're 1 to 1200, 1 to 1200, 1 to 1200. We didn't write software that would automatically open all of them up and figure out what they were. You just had to type in what that next phrase was. Tomorrow morning, I'm going to go through the stuff that I was doing, movies and pictures, and I will play the movie tomorrow on that and on that. I'll play the same movie or the same animation on both devices. That one would be good. Or maybe, because when we finish, we only got another hour before we go, so maybe we'll go out with a bang and bring that one in too. That would be, because a movie would look pretty good on that one. What was yours, Gail, you did for the high school? Was it like this resolution? It was 84 by 40?
32 by 42, 4-inch space.
4-inch? See, and this is, I think, 2-inch spacing, isn't it?
Why would it look better there than on this one? This one is tighter resolution. I would assume that this would be a lot better for a movie. Am I not grasping something here?
Oh, yeah. It would look better than that one, but you will see that it doesn't look that bad on this one. I want you to get the feel about how dense you need to make it and still have a usable movie. This is gonna look better up close.